We've all seen the amazing deep sky images that has been taken, but what does it actually take to produce an image like that? Today's video is sponsored by SecretLab. We all strive for the best possible gaming experience, but the importance of a good quality chair is often underestimated. SecretLab produces some of the most comfortable and high quality gaming chairs you can get. So upgrade your commander chair today and fly in style and comfort. Follow the link in the video description to their store, type in your height, your weight, and it will tell you which chairs fit you for the best possible seating experience. Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another spacewalk with Outwith Astronomy. So, deep sky images, how do we take them? Well, before we start, I need to clarify a common misconception, and that is that you need a ton of magnification in order to take pictures like that. This is not the case. The issue is more the fact that the objects are so dim that normal cameras just can't collect enough light to actually take these pictures. And this really highlights the main issue that we have here, that we are dealing with an object where we have a very poor signal to noise ratio. So this really just becomes an exercise in noise reduction more than anything else. And this is why we're now going to go through the different types of images you need to take, because you actually need to take 4 different types of images in order to produce a good deep sky image. So let's start by talking about the bias frames. Whenever you take a picture with a camera, there will always be noise. There can be noise from the surroundings, there can be light pollution, but there can also be noise from the camera itself. And bias frames try to reduce the noise from just reading off the camera chip. So when you take a picture, the camera begins to collect light. When it's done, it reads the data off the chip, and that is then generated into the image file. But this process of reading does generate noise, and therefore bias frames is just taking 0-second exposures. You're going to use the same camera settings as you otherwise would for your light frames, but you're just going to reduce the shutter time down to as low as you can possibly do in the camera. This means that all you get out is basically black images where the only data that's in there is the noise from reading off the chip. You often want to take hundreds and hundreds of these and then average them out to get an average noise generated by the camera. And then we have dark frames. Dark frames are used to mitigate the noise buildup inside the camera over time. Any camera will have a natural small amount of noise generated the longer it exposes. So in order to mitigate that, you take dark frames. Here you use the exact same camera settings as you will do for your light frames. However, you just have the camera cap on, so no light is hitting the center. Here it's very important that you do the same exposure time as you would do for your light frames. So the same amount of time is spent taking light frames as it is taking dark frames. And in a similar manner as with bias frames, you're also going to take multiple of these, average them up, and you can also subtract the bias levels from them so you only have the noise built up within the camera. Next up we have flat fields. These are taken to mitigate the fact that not every pixel in a camera chip is equally sensitive to light. They have small variations. To compensate for this, we need to have a flat piece of lighting, an even piece of lighting across the whole chip. Sometimes people will do this early in the morning, late in the afternoon, where the sky have a nice even spread of light. Find a blank spot in the night sky or in the evening sky and take a picture of that. Sometimes you will also see people using what's called dome flats, where a white square has been painted on the inside of the dome of the telescope, and they didn't point the camera at that white square, point the light at it, and take pictures of that in order to get that even smooth lighting. And finally we get to the actual light frames, the frames of the object itself. Well, here of course you will need to be able to keep the objects steady in the frame, and since we're going to be doing multiple hour exposures, some kind of tracking is needed. Often people do many shorter exposures, and when I say shorter I mean it could be anywhere from 5 minutes to half an hour to an hour long exposures at a time. It really depends, but in total you probably want to have, I would say, at least 10 hours of total exposure time divided out amongst many different exposures. And this means you will have to do it over multiple nights often, since getting 10 hours of clear dark sky is quite uncommon. So often people will use some kind of automated computer tracking system, but less can do it. You can get a simple, what's called an equatorial mount, and have a small electric motor just spin the camera for you very slowly to track the object. Much of the whole alignment, in case the object is not in the exact same position all the time in all the pictures, can be reduced later
in post. It's just important that doing a single frame, that the object stays very stationary in the frame. Otherwise you're gonna get essentially motion blur just stretched over half an hour. So once you have all your light frames and you have all your calibration pictures, you need to go back home, and now begins the post-editing. Luckily for this, there are a multitude of different softwares for pretty much any operating system you could ever think of, anything from command line tools to tools with graphical interfaces, so it really depends what level of control you want over the software. If you go to Google and search up astrophotography, post-processing or processing software or something along those lines, you'll probably be able to find a multitude of these kinds of softwares. So that is it. I hope you enjoyed this little insight into deep sky astrophotography. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a like, subscribe, and until next time, I'll see you guys in space.